Hello everybody, this is Connor on Connor's Retribution Analysis. I have another game of Garryth 2 versus Magnus 2. Getting kind of repetitive, but that's kind of how our Thursday night gaming events are going. We're getting kind of the same players together. Things are going to shake up. School's going to be done here pretty soon, so we're going to have new fresh blood. We're going to start moving to different nights, and we're going to start getting different rotation of players. I'm also looking at getting on Vassal and starting to put Vassal games up on here. But for the moment, this is what we got. I absolutely love it. It's the same matchup it's similar matchup that we keep playing as we tune our list, but it's still really fun to me. Hopefully you guys enjoy. So this is pretty much a similar Magnus 2 list, 3 halberdiers. He has Kayozi eliminators though now. Over there on the right, the lovely ladies with the terrifying blades hanging out in the Steelhead groups over there. And 2 Toros and 2 Nomads, Magnus, Gorman, Ragman. He has Ragman. That's also one of the big deals. And he has 1 less Nomad. And that's how he's affording all of that. On my side, I'm going 2 free cards in Legions of Dawn and not 3 free cards so I can have 2 Harpies. I was thinking about it, what units, what models I wanted in Legion of Dawn, Invictors, Desters, Trident, all these things, and I realized I'd rather have 2 Harpies for the pushbacks and the Mage Sight and the Road to Wars and all the things Garryth does for them. Because I'm not dropping Moros and Imperitus, and I don't have any Harpies in the list, and it just doesn't feel complete as a Garryth list without Harpies. So, this is where we are. I get to go first, and I just pretty much got up the board. All these houses over here on the left, I didn't want to put Sentinels over there. I took pretty much my entire army, and I just plan on contesting over here and taking my whole entire army and going this way. Both units of Sentinels, everything. The reason why I don't even want to go over there is if I put my Sentinels into this gap point, even going first, he will be able to run a halberdier or 2, not attack my Sentinels, and put them right in the way of them, and I'll just be stuck there. I can try and shoot those dudes out to dig deeper, but it's kind of like this weird conundrum where he can just take his 11-point unit of halberdiers and invalidate my Sentinels for, by turn 3 or 4, my Sentinels are finally getting somewhere. They want to get to the jacks. He can just invalidate them for too long if I put them there, which is why I didn't. Over here, I've got some rough terrain, but I've got a lot of open space to play with, so that's why my Sentinels are deployed over here. If that hopefully makes sense. So I go first. Moros could move pretty far out. He has a 12-inch threat range. I intentionally leave Moros out of that 12-inch threat range. His turn. Something he did that he feels is cutesy is he took Pathfinder instead of Repair on that objective. He runs his army up. He has been assassinated by the Moros assassination train a couple of times, so he's wary of that. He feels like he needs to get Magnus 2 forward for his feet because Magnus 2 is kind of slow, but at the same time he doesn't want to get assassinated. So he hit the open spots where I can land with Moros. I can get countercharged, or I'll be engaged. Now, I've got ways around that. I can knock down his jacks with my Harpies, but if I'm knocking down his jacks with his Harpies, I'm not shooting Magnus 2 to death. So he thinks about it in his head, and he's like, what are my ranged assassination threats? I've got Garryth's gun. I've got the Harpies, Imperitus. Oh, yeah, so that'll be fine. I actually do look at a lot of weird different assassination runs. And the possibility of trying to get, like, say, Imperitus to Magnus. The thing is, he's an armor 21 with escort, and even if I take away his defense, he's I don't know. I just kind of start looking at it all, and it feels all in for something that might get gummed up by countercharge, and also seems. I mean, if this was a Ron assassination run, no problem. I know exactly what to do here. It's something like TK, and then TK Halberdier over here slamming into Magnus, TK him over the wall, or that's 3 TKs and a slam, so it'd probably be just 2 TKs and a slam. I would not TK this guy back here. And then Helios would trample up and pull through there, and no problem. But this is not raw, and I'm still kind of getting used to Garryth. And I got to think about the assassination run a little bit more, because I think there might be something here. I'm just not. And if you guys see something, shout at me. Because right now what I was thinking is I base it on whether Harpy can get up here and knock down this Toro. If that can happen, Moros can go over to here, take the shot, and then if that happens, if that happens and it hits, which it might not because he's an 18 and I'm a 6, needing a 12, yeah, that's not really that good. That just did, no, just don't like it. Just really, really, really don't like it. But let's move on. So I've got 2 options this turn. How long have I been talking about this bullcrap? Probably too long. I can't even find my do recorder. Yeah. So I've got 2 options this turn. I can just get myself into him, which none of my Sentinels can get into him. But I can get to my, like, Imperitus, my Jackson to him, kind of get into his face and make it so he's going to pop feet next turn, and I'll pop feet, and we'll have a turn of just kind of slugging it out in the middle of the board, which he'll probably come out a little bit on head on, but I won't lose on scenario. Or I can shoot a bunch of his stuff and back up a little bit, throw some Sentinels into contest, and just try and not lose on scenario. I decided to go that route. This feels like a very risky play to me. I'm worried about losing on scenario. It is something I was actively thinking about, but I decided to go for it. So, whoops. What I decided to do is Garryth activates and he does an armor-piercing shot and he smacks that Toro right there and he cripples its movement and its left arm so it can no longer countercharge, and he repos right behind that objective. The Arcanist move first. Garryth just boosts a shot into this Toro right here after moving right there behind the house. Imperitus shoots this halberdier right here, killing him, lighting 4 of them on fire with flame burst. Harpy flies over to right about here. Boost to hit and crit knocks down. I'm not going for damage. Crit knocks down that Toro. So basically, this Toro's movement's crippled. This Toro's knocked down. And then what was it? Oh yeah, this Harpy comes up and just starts boosting shots onto this Nomad over here. And the way the damage falls out, I take my 2 ghost snipers and I put shots on it by moving over here and over here, and I cripple its cortex. Just the way the damage rolls out. So crippled cortex, crippled movement, knocked up, no damage, and a whole bunch of people on fire and dead. And I just have, Sentinels scattered around in places for him to trigger vengeance. And the majority of my Sentinels are way back here, ready to just roll up and get down and dirty next turn. And that's where we are. And he's not very happy about this turn. He's like, well, gosh dang, that feels absolutely horrible. But he's a good sport about it. And didn't tilt when the armor-piercing POW 14 gun took out half of a Toro, because, my goodness, oh, it's so much fun. All of these Steelheads die to fire. Every single one of them. Which, cool for me. His turn now is, I don't think it's a feat turn. No, it's not a feat turn. He decides to hold his feet too. He takes all of his jacks and they charge on Moros, and or they walk to Moros like right here. Swing on him, get a little bit of damage done, and they just all go into the meat grinder right in the middle of the map. Stuff gets cleared out. He clears out my Sentinels, triggering Vengeance, and he gets his models into the middle of the map. He takes all these Steelheads and runs them over to here. Some of them charge the Ghost Sniper and miss. Some of them charge the Harpy and do a little bit of damage to the Harpy. And Anastasia comes off the side of the map, who, if I, was better with my Road to Wars, this Harpy would have been tucked over here a little bit better. But instead, Anastasia comes across back behind the Harpy and just barely has the charge range to get behind him and does a little bit of damage to the Harpy. So Harpy's pretty messed up. Both of his arms are crippled, and his movement's crippled, but he still has his Cortex. Not in a good, happy way, though. And we have a board that looks like this. So once again, I'm thinking Moros assassination run. And getting Moros there is the easy part. It's getting a finish up piece there, like Imperitus there, that's hard. So in my head, Moros just fleets over to right here, smacks on Magnus 2, and then something makes him Road to War back there deeper into the zone to get out of the way and also to be harder to get rid of. And then Sentinels with Vengeance attacks clear out all this and clear out all this. And then Sentinels would shoot over, take out these jacks since this one's all messed up. And then Imperitus can possibly sidestep over to Magnus and get the job done. The issues is that lots of health, bullet dodger on Anastasia. The turn starts unfolding, and isn't that fantastic? Also, as far as score goes, he scored 2 points that last turn. One right here and one right there. So, to make things short, my assassination run does not really pan out. Moros goes here, hits him, and does a little bit of damage, and then Road to War is away after something else kills something. That happens. Vengeance attacks pretty much clear out all this and clear out all this. Garryth shoots that Toro right there and does a crap ton of damage. Deadly shot and a Harpy shot kill the rest of this Nomad right here. And then Imperitus goes in, and I just can't get Sentinels and the charges I need to get to Magnus. So I decide, oh yeah, it's time to play for attrition. I'm going to hopefully remove enough of his army that even though he's going to be locking me out of zones, I'll be scoring points. And some of my stuff won't be in his feet range, and hopefully I can just score enough points to win. Or to not lose, basically. So that's more or less what happens. I've got Moros way back here contesting this zone, hopefully in such a way that he can't easily remove. It's kind of my saving grace I'm banking on. Imperitus goes in, and at dice off 2, he's not doing a whole bunch to this Toro, or to this Toro, but this Nomad is dead. And yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at. Almost everything here is cleared off the board except for the Kayozi, and I've got Sentinels way up in there, and it's mini feat time. Over here, pretty much nothing happens since that Ghost Sniper has a crappy melee attack, and he's mat like 4, and the Harpy is has crippled arms, but they're contesting. That's where we're at. So his turn. I scored 1 point right here. It is 2-1, which is not really good. He's looking at it like it's feat time and scenario victory time, because attrition is sort of going my way. I mean, we're still kind of close. He has an Anastasia plan where he gets to with next to Garryth, right there behind Sylis, and he gives everyone a free move. Before that happens, though, Magnus comes over here and pops feet and kills Moros. The Toros kill Imperitus, with Gorman had come over here and done a blind bomb on Moros so he'd be easier to hit. Ragman, who is right behind this Toro, And the reason why I didn't push that Toro away was because Ragman's right there. Although he could sack bond to Magnus, which actually would have been a really cool assassination run strategy. Oh, that would have been so cool. Except for Anastasia and him were blocking the way. Anyhow, yeah, Ragman does Death Field, and these guys kill Imperitus. Thralls get spammed all over the place over here. And he kills these two, sets up in this zone. Anastasia comes over here and does a reconnaissance, and now Magnus gets to move closer using the feet movement. And if Magnus wasn't paralyzed, he was planning instead to just be charging Garryth, or trying to kill the objective and charging Garryth. That was kind of his plan, but because he's paralyzed and can't charge, that's not a thing. And all these halberdiers move around better into the zone and move around. Everything kind of moves around. The thralls move around over to here. Get in annoying places to contest. He's trying not to trigger my feet movements. Like some stuff is getting shot, some stuff is getting killed with feet movements and things like that. But most of this is something that's good for me to learn with a Garryth 2 feet, is because we're already engaged, he can stand still for a lot of his stuff. I really need to be killing things and have him have to move into me for them to work, which is very unfortunate because he was just able to stand still too much. He was also able to move this Toro over here when it was getting to Imperitus out of line of sight of Garryth, which was really, really unfortunate because if an armor-piercing shot could have possibly knocked out the sword on that guy and made it so that he didn't kill Imperitus. Yeah, Kayozi just kill a whole bunch of stuff over here. Swinging on them is almost pointless because I can't hit him. Can't hit Anastasia with any of my stuff. Harpy didn't have line of sight to this Toro when it was moving in. Just not overall a very lackluster feat turn. Which, I mean, he had to play around it, but he did play around it is the problem. And now we're at this spot here with a point taking him to 3. And a point taking him to 4. So it is now 4-1. My plan basically is as follows. Ghost Sniper, get over there and contest. Garryth, Spitfire and shoot everything out of this zone. Sentinels, volume of attacks, get rid of Anastasia since she can't move. Other Sentinels over here, try and... It's unlikely for them to kill the Kayozi, so try and get behind him and just do some work over there. And also help with charging Alexia from her back arc. And that's pretty much the plan, since I'm worried about losing on scenario. If I'd been thinking about it, I could have gotten one Sentinel with Vengeance into that zone over there, and that would have prolonged the game a little bit better. But I failed at the end of all my clearing to kill this Thrall that was back here. Arcanist hit him, but didn't roll the damage he needed. Just kind of womp type of thing. So, with not scoring any points on his turn, the score was 4-1. He was up by 3. Or not scoring any points on my turn. I just did not have the resources and the abilities to kind of get rid of all this stuff over here, and I messed up scoring this zone, and I only contested here. He scored 1 here, pass clock, and scored another one, taking it 6-1. Whew, that sucked. Key points of this game, I like my list. I feel like I did not get good value out of my feat the way I used it when I used it, which I'm just going to have to either figure out if that's a list design issue or if it's a playstyle issue. It might be a little bit of both. It also might just be the way the game rolled out. I think I lost the game on turn 2 when I decided to back up. I think that turn went fantastic, but the turn afterwards, I don't feel like I got in far enough into his lines and got... I think I needed to be farther along so that I could bring these Sentinels in this way. these Sentinels being tied down over here allowed me to not contest, allowed me to not get a lot of work done, and I just wasn't getting the Sentinel charges I needed on his jacks, which was really a bummer. Yeah, I think it goes to once I had committed to that turn two play style where I backed up and did some damage instead of going forward and popping feet. I needed to execute it better and do a better job of not losing to scenario. It was something I thought about and just messed up. I needed to contest over here a little bit better. I needed to keep that Harpy safer so he didn't get charges on it and make it last longer. Just a bunch of stuff like that. Well, thank you for watching, guys, and hopefully you guys enjoyed.